Hello and welcome to The Good Life. This is your hostess, Beverly Fells Jones, and today I have the honor to introduce to you a woman who can satisfy your sweet tooth. Her name is Yolanda Temple Nolan. And Yolanda has come to us via many paths. As a police officer, a school teacher, a public speaker, and coach, she has a lot of wisdom to share, and she does today. Take a listen, have a seat, and enjoy my interview with Miss Yolanda Temple Nolan. Well, everyone, I told you that I was having a fantastic interview today, and I am having it with a woman that I think we just kind of connected when we met each other at the Colony, Texas Chamber of Commerce meeting at Nebraska Furniture Mart, where I've told you before I work part-time, which it's not going to be much longer. But and it was a really good networking meeting, and we got to talk, and we got to talk about the things that she's doing today. She has an extensive background, as I've told you in the introduction, but I just want to share you with her, or her with you, by both ways. So Yolanda, welcome.
Thank you so much, Beverly.
Now, do you have a nickname or anything
Well,
that one that
close
you'll
friends call
share?
Well, no, it's like
Okay.
my close friends call me Yogi,
Okay.
but hey, let's keep it Yolanda.
Yolanda, yes. Because I was thinking, I said, I wonder if they shortened her. It's like people ask me, well, is it Beverly or Bev? I said,
Right.
Beverly. And they go,
Yeah.
huh? I said, all my life, I didn't get called Bev until I was grown. It was,
Yes.
and at work somewhere, somebody said Bev, and I didn't answer. And they went,
Right.
I'm calling you. I said, no, my name is Beverly.
Mhm.
So we'll do Yolanda. Yolanda, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yolanda, yes.
Yolanda, yes, because never mind. Anyhow, but the idea is that she, like I said, has had a fantastic life, and I'm going to have her share that with you. And, let's talk about some of those life experiences that you are willing to share that helped you with your personal growth. We'll kind of talk about what you do now, but let's talk about some things that have influenced you, because what we talk about here at The Good Life is the fact that you can do things in your life that makes it good for you, whether you're rich, you're poor, you're middle class, whatever it is. When you're living your dream and the things that you love to do, you're living a good life.
That's
So,
correct.
so what is it that in your life that has made you propel forward?
Well, Beverly, first of all, again, thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to share with you and your audience about just about life and about growth and where I am today. Well, let's start it from the beginning. I grew up in South Louisiana, outside of Baton Rouge, in a very small country town. And it was seven of us. And I grew up with the last four of us in the house together. And we had challenges, being that my parents didn't have the money that we needed. And I always said, even going to school, because I didn't have what a lot of other kids had, I don't ever want to be poor. I don't want to be poor.
Yes.
I'm so tired of being poor. And I knew I was poor. Some people grow up poor and they say, I didn't know I was poor. I knew I was poor because I didn't have what other kids had.
Yeah.
And so I said, I want to never be poor. So what I did, I said, I'm going to go to college. Of course, my parents couldn't afford to send me to school. So I ended up working 3 jobs while going to attending Southern University in Baton Rouge. I worked at Sears. I worked at an electronics store during the day, Sears in the evening. And then I answered phones at a doctor's answering service on the weekends, along with studying. So college life was work and graduating. And so that was my quest I knew I needed a degree to advance. That's what I thought. I thought that was going to be the anchor. That was going to be it.
Well, one of the things for you is that you had that work ethic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, it's that, and that desire, that inside desire that you were determined not to be poor. You found that your way out was to you felt that your way out was to go to college, get an education, which many of us
Correct.
were taught to do. But
Correct.
you didn't just think about it. You didn't just, okay, this is what I want to do, and didn't find a plan. You had a burning desire, and then you got a plan and you executed it and went to college, and you didn't let money stop you.
That's correct.
Yes.
And Beverly, I'm glad you said that. I executed because I kept the plan before me. And a lot of times we have these dreams and goals and desires, but we don't keep it before us.
Yes.
And if we don't do that, we're going to lose sight of it with the normal cares of life, with family, with kids, with job, with responsibilities. So we have to keep those things before us, and they'll drive us to continue to do what we really set in our heart to do.
Good. So you went to school, you graduated. What degree did you get?
I have a degree in public relations and mass communications, radio and TV.
Oh,
so,
I need to talk to you about that. Yes.
And so what I did first is I had a job in a local Christian radio station in Baton Rouge. And then, of course, that job folded. And then I saw an ad in the paper, the newspaper, for the Dallas Police Department. They were hiring police officers, and it said $24,000. And I was like, no way. That's the most money I've ever seen in my life. I can do that because I saw this TV show, Christy Love.
Okay, yes.
And I said, if she can do it, if she can throw her purse and make those criminals fall down, I can do it. And so I went and applied, and I was hired. And then I moved to Dallas with $500 and friends to stay with that were friends of my sister. And I did a career of 10 years on the police department.
Wow.
And then after I had my son in 2002, I no longer desired to be on the street as a patrol officer.
Okay.
And so then I went and worked at the DA's office for 2 years. And then I was like, oh, I really need something to be at home with my kids. I have a 23-year-old. Right now she's 23 and my son's 17. But at the time they were 5 and a newborn, and I didn't have that time at home. So what I did again, as I said, okay, I need to go back to school and do something where I can be at home with my children. And so that's when I became certified as a teacher, and I've been teaching for 13 years.
Okay.
And so I started teaching in middle school, and here I am again doing another career change, because now that my kids are grown, my desire was to never be poor. And as long as you're working for someone else, you're going to have limitations on the income that you can make.
Yes.
And so, and that are set by someone else. And so I've always wanted to own my own business. And so I said, it's time to launch, and I had different ideas, and that's where I am today.
All right. So she didn't tell you what her new business is, but this is how I met her at the chamber, because she provided these awesome desserts. Honestly, they were, and I don't know, your husband didn't know me when I came in. He probably didn't recognize me, but I brought my daughter, and I went in so I could get the coconut cookies.
Oh my, the coconut drops.
Yes, and it was like, oh yes, I got to come in there and I got to come get some more. But she owns the business called Julie's Sweets, and they are just really great. So how did you transition? Again, she's got this desire in her head. She has this idea.
Yes.
She realizes that for her, that you'll never get rich working for somebody else and being under somebody else's dictation. But again, when you start working for yourself, it's a whole different thing that you learn about. So how'd you make this transition from being a teacher to owning Julie's Sweets?
Well, as a teacher, I did enjoy working with the kids, but it was, I'm gonna be honest with you, it was getting old. Just the teaching, and knowing what was in my heart. And so I know that an idea in the marketplace can transform your life. If you come up with an idea, a niche, a unique idea in the marketplace, that's where your life's going to be transformed.
Yes.
So my sister, Julie, has been baking all of my life.
Okay.
And I went out of town for about a weekend, and she baked some cookies again for my son. And when I came back and I had one of those cookies, I said, you know what, Julie, you're going to have to sell this stuff. This is just so good. We need to get it out. So she agreed with me, and we started maybe thought about taking things to farmers market and things like that. And, you know, we didn't want to continue to take stuff down there. So we were online one day, and I saw that this shop came available for sale in the colony, that the owner no longer wanted to run his yogurt shop. And it became available for lease. And so my husband and I explored it, and we decided to sign that lease and started getting Julie's Sweets out to the public. And so that's where we are. Julie's Sweets is a made-from-scratch bakery. We tried to make our sweets different from anything. We found our niche, in other words, our idea in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
Our sweets have no preservatives. It's made with butter. You know, we grew up with shortening and things like that that grandma used in her cakes. All of our cakes and cookies and ingredients are made with butter and the finest ingredients. And I tell you, when you taste it, like I always say, you can tell it's a labor of love, and it's just like mother's.
You can tell the difference.
Yes.
There was, and just to put this in perspective for me, there was a bakery in Pittsburgh. It was called Barkus Bakery. Mm-hmm. And their slogan was, butter makes it better.
Oh, I agree.
Yes. And when I'd go back to Pittsburgh, they made, I don't know if you all ever think about Danishes, but they made this pineapple Danish. I can't find pineapple Danish anywhere in the South, anywhere. And I would go back and get myself about 4 or 5 of them to bring home, put in the freezer. But they were great. So the idea of butter, there is nothing like cooking with butter. And it's also been proven that butter doesn't hurt you.
Right.
It is better for you than margarine, canola oil. I'm on this health kick, right? So it's proven that the research that the gentleman did way back when, that told us to stop eating fats and stop eating butter and lard and the natural fats was bogus. In other words, he fudged the research so that we would go on the corn oil and the oils that because they were growing so much corn, they had to do things. So audience, that's just a little bit of history behind that. I know I went off on a tangent, but the idea that and using wonderfully natural ingredients is important.
That is very important, and you can taste the quality. And for those who are gluten-free sensitive, we do have gluten-free products where I use almond flour, rice flour, but I still add some butter to it, so you won't be missing the good stuff.
Gluten-free, but not, which one is it? Vegan? That doesn't do animal products at all?
That's vegan. Yes.
That's vegan. So
gluten-free are people who have sensitivity to
flour,
intestinal sensitivity to flour.
Yeah. So, but I'm sorry, vegans. We're using animal products here, and I'm loving it. Okay, so what was your challenges for you as you were growing and having this desire in each stage of your life? What kind of challenges did you face?
Well, as I said, just growing up without makes me want to have. So, and I know that, you have to have money. People will say, well, how can you start a business? I don't have the money. You just have to get out there and find out what's there. I didn't have the money either. And my husband and I did what people say don't do, tapped into his retirement. We decided to cut back on everything from cable to all the little extras that we do, the going out to eat as frequently as we do. You'd be surprised how fast your money would add up if you cut back on some of the major areas. There are going to be trade-offs. You have to trade off something where you have to go in life. And we decided some serious trade-offs, and I think I must say this. You're going to have to pray and ask God, what is it that you have for me to do? First of all, what is my idea? And then make some sacrifices and listen to God's voice and say, hey, this is what I have for you, and pursue it. You'll never know if you don't pursue it. So some of the challenges mainly was financial. And I believe that if I continue with God's principles in my life of being faithful, and we did, and step out on faith without the money like people say have, a couple of paychecks in the bank and like 6 months. And to be honest with you, no, we did not have that.
Okay.
And we stepped out anyway because we're trusting God, and it is working. Our business, we have steady return customers. We've only been open 4 months.
I know, it's awesome.
Yes, and we have been doing very well because you know what? We found a niche. We found that people like to eat. We know that. But we found that if you have a great tasting product, the people will buy it.
Absolutely. And great service and
Yes.
great product. And it's a great location. Unfortunately, when we were having all the construction, it really did hurt those businesses on that corner. But now that construction is over, the one business, Chicken Express, actually closed.
Yes.
Took down their sign and said, we're closed for the duration. And then they finally reopened. So you've got a good time that you open after the construction was done.
Yes.
And I like the idea of stepping out on faith. And, there have been people who started businesses on $100, $10, or just that idea, and they got people to give them help in their quest because their desire was that great. And being able to hear God's voice is absolutely, I'll say, tantamount. But so many people don't stop and be still long enough to listen.
Yes.
And we are nudged in many ways. It's not like, sometimes it's like hitting a brick on our head to say, wake up, right?
Yes.
But most of the time it's subtle. It's just like an idea comes to mind, or I should call Mary Kay, or I should, maybe I'll check at this bank, or maybe I'll, do this. There's always ways that you'll be nudged, but you have to hear it. You've got to be, I tell folks all the time, you've got to be still. And what do you mean? I said, turn off the radio, turn off the television, go into meditative prayer and ask for what you want. Don't talk about, well, I don't have the 6 months in the bank, or I don't have this, and I don't have this experience. I don't care. Don't talk about that. Talk about my desire. My desire, you've put this desire in my heart, right? And so how am I to do this? What is my next step? And so we go through, you do that, and the answers will show up.
Yes, I'm so glad you said all that, Beverly, because it's so very true. We can all find excuses or reasons, but you have to be still and listen. And some people may say, well, I don't know God's voice. Hey, God's voice comes in a lot of ways. There's meeting Beverly was a divine appointment. There's no doubt. People come into your path.
Thank you.
Seeking people, the Chamber of Commerce, all of the connections. You'd be surprised if you just step out. You'll never know if you don't step out, and keep that before you, and trust God that what you have in your heart, He put it there. So it's got to come out.
There's got to come out.
Yeah,
and
He's
a way is going to be made.
But
you've got to make the first step.
There you go. You have
to make the first step.
And it is scary, but do it. That's where the faith comes in.
Trust is always there, and getting rid of fear. We have the fear. You're gonna be fearful. You're gonna be afraid.
Yes.
Fear is, as people say, false evidence appearing real.
Right.
That the idea is, I'm afraid that, I've done things that I was afraid to do. And then I went on and did. I said, shoot, I should have done this a long time ago. This is easy, right? So stepping out on your own and doing what you love. And sometimes it is working for somebody else. Sometimes the thing that you desire the most will have you working for someone else.
Yes, and you can even be perfecting your craft while you're working for someone else.
Absolutely.
You can't take all those things for granted. When you're working for someone else, you're perfecting your craft, your skills, you're getting knowledge, you're gaining experience. Hey, that's priceless.
Absolutely.
And remember, fear doesn't come from God. It's not from God. If you're fearful about stepping out, know that God is not giving you the spirit of fear, but power and love and a sound mind to step out on the things He's put inside of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So And another thing that you're looking, I'm taking a look at, you're also a associated with John Maxwell.
Yes. I am a leader. I'm a leader at heart. I like to lead. I'm a type A personality that I'm going to get it done. My strengths are mover, doer, producer. If you've ever taken a personality test, and you don't even have to be that kind of person. You can be a contemplator like my husband, but he balances me because I'm ready to go. And he'll like, okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this. So it's a balance. So you don't have to be a mover, doer, producer to get things done, but I'm a leader. And I believe that if I lead in the right way, it'll be helpful from top down because everything rises and falls on leadership. So what I did is I enrolled in the course to become a public speaker, and I learned how to add value to other people and the lives of others. And one of my passion that I have in my heart is to share with other women what they can do. Because I know even some of my friends, you know, I encourage them to not be stagnant because of life has you in a certain position. You don't have to stay there. And the John Maxwell group just kind of helped me be intentional about my life. You have to be intentional. You have to live life on purpose or life's going to pass you by. And if you just think about some of the things you've always wanted to do and you still haven't done it. Yeah. Well, that's fine. Maybe finances or whatever, kids, life keep you from it. But what are you doing to move toward that? How intentional every day are you about doing one thing that's going to propel you into that dream? One thing. So I listen to motivational tapes and information from him on a weekly basis and his clients and people that work for him. And they just keep me going. They're feeding into me. And you need a mentor and you need someone to feed into you. Yes. If you're going through life without a mentor, then you're missing out on something that's essential for your growth. Yes, I'm an adult now. I'm in my 50s. But hey, I still have a lot of growing to do in a lot of areas. And so it's all about personal growth. I still want to grow. I want to grow in having the best business, not just a great business in the county, but the best business, the best bakery, and have excellent service. Platinum service. When customers walk in, they had an experience. I didn't know that. I learned that because somebody taught me that. Don't just let people come in and out of your business. Let them have an experience at your business.
Yes.
Let them have something to say. Oh, she was so nice. If you would read our feedback on our Facebook or our bakery page, people say, oh, that family's so nice, because I want to make an impression on you, not just because my product is good, but because I appreciate you and value your time of coming into my business to support me.
Yes.
So those are the things I learned.
And you mentioned the thing about having a mentor.
Yes.
That was something that when I was in my 20s or what, I didn't hear about. People didn't talk about, well, they didn't talk to us about a mentor. It wasn't there, but I had them and didn't know it.
Yes.
Right? I had people who, and at the time I was working for IBM. And just by reaching out and talking to people and asking questions, I wound up having mentors. I learned things just by listening to them talk, you know, listening to the managers talk about things. It was like one manager come back and say, oh yeah, I was over at the market. Well, I didn't know what the market was. He went to the stock market, look, because before, you know, you didn't have internet and you didn't have all those ways that you could see it. You had to actually go to the stock brokerage firm. He would go there at lunchtime and he'd come back, and I started listening to him about investment. So he was my mentor, but he wasn't my official mentor on learning to invest and save your money. Like you said earlier, cut out, you know, you can cut out going out to eat multiple times a day. I went off cable, right? So that was $100 and some that got saved per month. And different ways. I grow a lot of my own vegetables and things in my backyard. And so it's another, but initially it costs a lot to get started, right? But over the years, now you start earning. So you start learning of ways to save money. You learn ways of increasing your self-esteem, your ideas of what, if you're on the job, what's the next thing you're going to do. But that mentor is going to teach you the things they've learned over the years. So always make sure it's an older mentor, even
Right.
though I found some younger ones now.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they know the internet and SEO,
Yes.
all of that kind of stuff,
Thank
right?
God.
Social media. So
Mhm.
that's the younger media.
Mhm.
But we do need a mentor to help guide us and direct us.
Right. And baby, you don't have to go out and hire somebody to be a mentor. There are
No.
mentors around you every day.
Hmm.
People that you see, hey, I want to learn from that person. I want to shadow that person. They have
Yes.
some wisdom for me. It doesn't have to be a long term, a couple of, however long it takes to get what you need. But you have to want it more than they are willing to give it.
Yes.
You have to want to grow.
Well, it's
And
like the story in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill,
yes.
and the gentleman that wanted to work with Edison. And
Mhm.
he took a train. The way he said it was nice, but he actually hopped the freight train because he didn't have money to catch a regular train. He hopped the freight train. He got to where he needed to go. He knocked on Edison's door and said, "I'm going to go in business with you." Well, that's
Mhm.
a lot of nerve to
Yes.
say,
Yeah.
"I'm going to go in business with you."
Mhm.
And the key was, Edison laughed, but he gave him a job because
Yes,
he
he did.
said this was determination. And it was 6 or 7 years later, he wound up going into business with him with the dictaphone because
Yeah.
none of
Mhm.
Edison's salespeople wanted to do that. So
Right.
that's determination. That's an example of determination. That's an example of having a mentor or finding somebody you want to work with. And
Yes.
so, and going and do it. And the worst they can say is no. That
Right.
is the most, and then you go, well, I'm still hanging around. I'm gonna watch what you do.
There you
I'll be
go.
at everything you do, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
watch what you do until you
That's right.
decide that you're gonna mentor me.
There you
It's
go.
determination.
Yeah. And if
Uh,
you can't see that person around you, you're like, well, I don't know anybody. Ask God to send somebody in your path to give you what you need to grow what He already has into you. You're pretty much without excuse. Okay.
right, right.
There is someone around you. Hey, I'm here. Beverly's here. I mean, you can call us and say, hey, what do you think about this or whatever? I am available. And
Yes.
most people are. You'd be surprised how much people want to share if they know that you want something that they have. It's just a matter of in asking or just doing. Just do it. Just go out, reach out. Reach out. You can't do it alone. No man's an island, and you're not going to do it alone. And we're here for relationship with each other, to help each other grow, not to pull each other down.
Oh, yes.
There's a place for everybody here, right here on earth.
Absolutely.
And you
I
have unique
also
gifts.
go and say there's no competition, and people go, but yes, there is. No, there is no
No.
competition. There are people out there that do the same things, but they don't do them the same way. There are people
Exactly.
who have bakeries, but they don't have Julie's,
There
right?
you
There
go.
are people who coach, but they don't do them the same way I do. You don't
Right.
do them the same way I do. And our niche is going to be totally different.
That's right.
So don't look for, I go, my most, and my audience know I use this often, is the idea that when I was a kid, the cereal aisle was this big, this tall, right? And then as I got older, it got this big and this tall. Now it's a whole aisle. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and it's up and down and all kinds of cereals and instant breakfast and all of these things. And then there's 10 different cornflakes. There's all
Right.
these different kind of puff rice or, or granolas, or there's all
Mhm.
kind of things. You look at the same thing with lotion and
Oh
it's
my
the same thing, right? So
God.
you look and find out and you go, I can get in here.
Mhm.
What's the one thing? Well, what do people want that they're not getting?
Yes.
And find that, and then
Finding
that's your niche.
that is correct. And don't let anyone you may think you have a niche, but don't let anybody steal or kill your dream.
Oh,
They may say, well, they have 100 lotions out there, but they don't have yours. They
that's
don't have
right.
your lotion. They
Right.
don't have the what you're going to do with whatever it is. So and then when those people shoot you down, you just continue to keep
Yeah.
going. You
And
keep
one
going.
of the things that I also say, and it's also in the scriptures, I don't remember which one right now, but it's also about keep to yourself, keep your
Mhm.
countenance. Don't tell everybody what you're doing. I said,
That's right.
don't tell anyone unless you're working with somebody who is moving you forward, your coach, your
Yeah.
mentor, somebody who has been encouraging you. That's
Honey,
where you share that information with,
right.
and then look for people who are like-minded. And
Oh,
then
that's key. That's key.
yes, it's like, creating your true mastermind. There's so many masterminds out here, but they're
Mhm.
not true masterminds. A mastermind is a group of people with different skills. They get together, they help each other, and they grow each of
Yes.
their businesses,
Hmm.
or they create a business together,
Hmm.
right? So they're
Right.
working together. So find your mastermind, but be very discerning.
Yeah.
Or you use your mental mastermind. God will provide you with the information when you have that mental mastermind.
Yes, that's wisdom right there, Beverly. That is just wisdom. What you're sharing is wisdom for them because you cannot tell everybody, and even your family,
Oh no,
sometimes especially your family, you
no.
cannot tell them what you're doing. Keep it in your heart and let God grow it. Let the people you're associating and mentoring with and growing with help you grow and add value to what you're trying to do.
And then
And
you say, it's open, my business is open. Yeah, you got to
yes.
come visit. What are you talking about? Well, you
Mhm.
remember many years ago I mentioned that I wanted to do XYZ, and they said,
Yes.
oh yeah, we knew that would never go. Well, it's going, and I'm doing very well. You must come to visit me.
Yes. No. Oh,
Right? It's
wow.
afterwards, and then yeah, you got to let people know that you're in business and doing that.
Hmm. And you're going to
Uh,
have little trials along the way, and some things may not work out, but it's only just to steer you to the right
right
direction.
direction.
Don't let
Absolutely.
it stop you because you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have things that don't work out, or I'm going to burn up everything and it's time to open up. Hey,
Yes.
make the best out of it.
And
Hey, guess what happened this morning? I just burned that whole pan of muffins and we open in 15 minutes. I'll have
yes.
them out in 30 minutes. I promise
Yes.
you that.
Yes.
And I'll
Yeah.
give you one free if you come back. Work it. Make it work because
Or
things
make
are
it
going to
work.
happen. Life,
Yes.
you got to keep going.
You can't let one or two things stop you, right?
Yes, that's
The
right.
the one thing that stops you is you.
Yes.
90% of the time it's you and the way you think that
The way
stops you.
you think. The
Well,
battlefield is
Yolanda, we've
hard.
been talking for a while,
Woo,
but I
great. I
appreciate
enjoy
you
it.
very much. I appreciate your wisdom, your
Thank you.
thoughts, your sharing with me or in my audience how you got started, and especially I want to bring up the intention.
Mm,
Setting your intention, and you set it every morning before you get out of bed.
mm.
Set your intention that this is going to be a great day. Set the
Yes.
intention that today I'm going to do this to move my life forward. So
Correct.
go through the process of setting your intention, just like Yolanda said.
Yes.
And you've got to go and visit Yolanda's Julie's Sweets. And you want to give them the address for Julie's?
Yes, Julie Sweets is in the Colony with 3809 Main Street at Memorial. We're on the northwest corner. We're on the backside of Walmart. So come by and let me know that you heard us on Beverly's program, and you might have something free and special for you.
Absolutely. We will do
Okay.
that. Is there a website yet or no?
Yes, it's Juliessweetsbakery.com.
.com? Okay.
And like us on Facebook, Julie Sweets Bakery, the Colony, Texas.
Okay.
Or you can email me, juliessweetsbakery@yahoo.com.
I love that. Julie Speeds Bakery. And remember that. You can Google it and you'll
Yes,
find it,
Google
right?
it. Yes.
Julie Sweets Bakery. Well, again, Mrs. Yolanda Nolan, I want to thank you for being here today. And I am looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yes.
Whether it'll be at your shop or whether it's going to be at the Colony chamber meeting
Chamber. Oh,
next
yes.
time I make it there. All right.
Thank you.
As you have believed, let it be done to you, and it is so.